Do you remember the hum of fluorescent lights over a Las Vegas crime scene, the quiet snap of latex gloves, and the feeling that no secret, no matter how deeply buried, could survive the patience of one brilliant team? For over 15 years and more than 300 episodes, CSI, Crime Scene Investigation, held the world in its grip. But the cameras have long gone dark, and now the real question lingers. Where did those familiar faces go when the lab coats came off for the last time? Hi, my name is Edward, and this is Screen Legends, the place where we pull back the curtain on the lives behind the performances that shaped us. William Peterson, Gil Grissom. William Peterson was 36 years old when he first stepped into the role that would define a generation of television. Gil Grissom was not a conventional hero. He did not chase suspects through alleyways or deliver thundering courtroom speeches. Instead, he crouched beside a body in the Nevada desert and listened. To the insects, to the evidence, to the story that only the dead could tell. A forensic entomologist by specialty and a philosopher by nature, Grissom approached every case as though it were a sacred text that demanded his fullest attention and deepest respect. His relationship with Sarah Seidel carried a quiet romantic tension that stretched across seasons before finally surfacing, slow, restrained, and somehow all the more moving for it. And when he ultimately stepped away from the team to follow his heart and his science into the wider world, it did not feel like a character exit. It felt like a man finally giving himself permission to live. Today, he sees William Peterson is 72 years old. After departing the series, he returned to his first love, the stage, and performing in theater productions and reminding anyone who had forgotten that before Grissom, he was already a deeply respected dramatic actor. He has continued to appear selectively in the television and film, never chasing fame, but never truly leaving it either. His net worth is estimated at around $45 million. He remains, without question, one of the most thoughtful leading men American television has ever produced. Marg Helgenberger, Catherine Willows. Marg Helgenberger was 42 years old when she brought Catherine Willows to life. A bloodstain analyst, a single mother, and a woman who had clawed her way out of a past that could have broken someone with a little less fire in them. Catherine did not simply process crime scenes. She read them the way you read a person's face, with instinct, with memory, with the particular sharpness of someone who has seen enough of the world's worst to recognize patterns that others miss entirely. She was the emotional backbone of the team in ways that were never loudly announced, but always deeply felt. Her complicated relationship with her father, Sam Braun, added a moral weight to her story that the show never shied away from. And Marg Helgenberger carried every difficult scene with extraordinary grace. Today, Marg Helgenberger is 67 years old and remains one of the most admired women in American television. Before this defining role, she had already earned critical recognition, including a Golden Globe, for her work in the 1990s. In the years since, she has returned to both film and television, occasionally reprising the very character that cemented her legacy. She is proof that some performances do not simply end. They become a permanent part of who you are. Gary Dourdan, Warwick Brown. Gary Dourdan was 34 years old when he stepped into the role of Warwick Brown, a forensic specialist whose brilliance was matched only by the quiet, persistent war he waged with himself. Warwick was patient in the lab, bold in the field, and deeply human in those solitary moments between cases when the weight of what he had seen settled over him like Nevada dust. He was a man walking a razor's edge between discipline and self-destruction, and that tension made him one of the most compelling characters the show ever produced. Yet when his story ended in tragedy, not in a courtroom or a villain's lair, but in a dark alleyway, shot and fading, it landed on audiences like a genuine loss. Because it was. Today, Gary Dourdan is 59 years old. Following the series, he faced a period of significant personal and legal difficulties that drew more attention than any of us would have wished for him. His path since has been quieter, more private, and by most accounts, more grounded. He has continued to appear in independent film projects, and fans who remember Warwick Brown continue to hold a genuine warmth for the man who gave that character his soul. Sometimes the role you play stays with people long after the headlines fade. That is the truest measure of a performance. George Eads, Nick Stokes. George Eads was 33 years old when he took on the role of Nick Stokes, a man shaped by middle-class values, a large Texas family, and an unshakable belief that justice was not just a professional obligation, but a personal calling. Nick was the team's quiet conscience, methodical, steady, the kind of investigator who would stay crouched over a piece of evidence long after everyone else had moved on, as though he owed the victim that extra hour of attention. His abduction and near burial alive in one of the series' most harrowing story arcs changed him permanently, and George Eads played that transformation with a truthfulness that genuinely moved people. Today, George Eads is 58 years old, after departing the series under circumstances that were not entirely smooth. This it has to be said. He went on to lead a modern action drama revival, though that chapter also ended earlier than anticipated. Still, Nick Stokes remains the role his career will always be measured against, and that is no small thing. That character mattered. He still does. Georgia Fox, Sarah Siddle. Georgia Fox was 32 years old when she first appeared as Sarah Seidel, a forensic investigator whose intense, almost obsessive focus on her work served as both her greatest strength and her most transparent defense mechanism. Sarah did not socialize easily. She stayed late in the lab. She looked at microscopes the way other people look at the horizon, searching for something just beyond the visible. And when her painful past gradually revealed itself, where viewers understood that beneath the scientific precision lived a person who had survived things that most of us cannot imagine. Her love story with Grissom was earned slowly and honestly, which made it worth every year of waiting. Today, Georgia Fox is 57 years old. She has continued to work in television and has periodically returned to the character of Sarah Seidel, a testament to both her affection for the role and the audience's enduring love for it. Outside of acting, she is known for her passionate environmental and animal welfare advocacy, which, knowing Sarah Seidel, feels entirely appropriate. Some actors and their characters are simply cut from the same cloth. Paul Guilfoyle, Jim Brass. Paul Guilfoyle was 51 years old when he first stepped into the shoes of Jim Brass, a seasoned homicide detective who had seen enough of Las Vegas's darker corners to stop being surprised by any of it, and yet somehow never stopped caring. Brass was the team's bridge to the street, blunt, experienced, and possessed of a dry humor that could cut the tension in a room faster than any lab result. His complicated relationship with his daughter Ellie was a quiet ache that ran beneath every episode he appeared in, reminding viewers that the people who chase the worst of humanity often carry their own private griefs. Today, Paul Guilfoyle is 76 years old. With a career spanning stage, film, and television across several decades, he has consistently chosen depth over celebrity. After leaving the series, he continued working steadily, always the reliable character actor who makes every scene around him better. The industry has 100 leading men. It has very few Jim Brasses. That distinction matters. Eric Smanda, Greg Sanders. Eric Smanda was just 25 years old when he first appeared as Greg Sanders, the DNA specialist with the loud music, the brighter-than-regulation personality, and the suspicion that he was, in fact, the most interesting person in any room he entered. And honestly, he was not entirely wrong. Greg brought levity and genuine warmth to a show that could otherwise feel very cold and very dark, and watching him grow from the enthusiastic lab kid into a seasoned, emotionally mature field investigator was one of CSI's most quietly satisfying character journeys. Today, Guy Eric Simanda is 50 years old. He has chosen a largely private life since the series ended, stepping back from the spotlight without apparent regret. His portrayal of Greg Sanders remains beloved by fans who remember exactly how much that character made them smile during some genuinely grim episodes. That is a legacy worth having. Robert David Hall, Al Robbins. Robert David Hall was 53 years old when he took on the role of the Dr. Al Robbins, a medical examiner who spent his professional life in the company of the dead and somehow managed to be one of the warmest presences on the entire show. Robbins treated everybody on his table with a dignity and a gentleness that never felt performed. His quiet wit was never disrespectful. It was human. It was the way someone copes when their job requires them to stare unflinchingly at mortality, day after day. What many viewers may not know is that Robert David Hall lost both of his legs in a traffic accident in 1978, and rebuilt his entire life and career from that moment with a determination that makes his decades of steady, graceful work feel even more remarkable. Today, Robert David Hall is 79 years old. He has continued working in voice acting, music, and broadcasting, and remains a quiet symbol of resilience that the entertainment industry does not always take enough time to acknowledge. Wallace Langham, David Hodges. Wallace Langham was 38 when he first appeared as David Hodges, a trace evidence analyst whose confidence in his own brilliance was admittedly not entirely unjustified. And even if his colleagues could have done with slightly less of it on a Monday morning. Hodges was sharp, quick, occasionally insufferable, and deeply entertaining precisely because of it. And in his most vulnerable moments, when the arrogant surface cracked and something genuinely frightened looked out, the character became unexpectedly moving. Today, Wallace Langham is 60 years old and has continued working steadily across television and film. He is one of those actors the industry quietly relies on. Never the headline, always the scene stealer, a dependable and genuinely skilled performer. Lawrence Fishburne, Ray Langston. Lawrence Fishburne was 57 years old when he joined the team as Dr. Ray Langston, a former physician who crossed from medicine into criminal investigation, driven by an intellectual obsession he could not name and could not resist. Stepping into the space left by a beloved predecessor is never easy. Fishburne handled it with the particular gravity of a man who has never needed a room's permission to command it. Today, Lawrence Fishburne is 64 years old, with more than 4 decades in the industry behind him, including iconic film performances that defined entire eras of cinema. He remains one of the most distinguished and decorated actors of his generation. His time on CSI was simply one remarkable chapter in an extraordinary career. A.G. Ted Danson, D.B. Russell. Ted Danson was 64 years old when he stepped into the role of D.B. Russell, a team leader from Seattle who brought something genuinely unexpected to the demanding world of Las Vegas forensics: warmth. Russell listened, he admitted mistakes, he made his team feel protected rather than managed. In a show built on cool analytical distance, and fans who remember Warwick Brown continue to hold a genuine warmth. That humanity was quietly revolutionary. Today, Ted Danson is 79 years old and remains a genuine television icon whose relevance has never dimmed across nearly 5 decades in the industry. After CSI, he continued delivering work of extraordinary range and quality. The man is, simply put, one of the greats, and he almost certainly knows it, which somehow makes him more charming rather than less. Elizabeth Shue, Julie Finley. Elizabeth Shue was 49 years old when she stepped into the role of Julie Finley, a skilled and confident investigator whose professional composure concealed psychological fractures left by years of pursuing some of the most intelligent and manipulative offenders in the country. Finn did not break easily, but you could sometimes see, in a fleeting expression, exactly how much staying unbroken was costing her. Today, Elizabeth Shue is 62 years old. Long before this chapter of her career, she had already achieved international recognition through major film roles beginning in the 1980s. She has continued working steadily in both film and high-quality television, remaining a versatile and deeply respected performer. Neste Elizabeth Harnois, Morgan Brody. Elizabeth Harnois was 32 years old when she joined the team as Morgan Brody, the daughter of a respected forensic professional who arrived carrying both the advantage of her upbringing and the weight of proving that her place on the team was entirely her own. She was sharp, quick, and unafraid to challenge people above her, which, depending on the day, was either her greatest professional asset or the thing most likely to cause a headache for everyone in the building. Today, Elizabeth Harnois is 46 years old. She began her career as a child performer and developed steadily into a serious dramatic actress, continuing to appear in television projects with consistency and quiet dedication. Liz Vassy and Wendy Sims. Liz Vassy was 33 years old when she joined the series as Wendy Sims, a DNA specialist whose intelligence was matched by a confidence and a wit that made her scenes with David Hodges some of the most entertaining the show ever produced. When Wendy walked in with lab results, something was always about to change. That is a good thing to be in a crime procedural. Today, Liz Vassy is 53 years old. After stepping away from acting, she expanded her work into production and content development, building a steady professional life behind the camera with an estimated net worth of around $4 million. David Berman, David Phillips. David Berman was 27 years old when he first appeared as David Phillips, the quiet, the precise forensic assistant who supported Al Robbins through years of autopsies with a calm professionalism that never sought recognition and never needed it. David spoke carefully and infrequently, but when he did, it mattered. The detail he offered was almost always the one that opened the next door. There is a particular kind of professional dignity in that kind of work, and Berman brought it honestly. Today, David Berman is 52 years old. He has moved largely into production and technical consulting work behind the scenes, which, if you think about it, suits the man perfectly. Louise Lombard, Sophia Curtis. Louise Lombard was 35 years old when she stepped into the recurring role of Sophia Curtis, a detective who moved between the CSI team and the Las Vegas Police Department with the composed assurance of someone entirely comfortable operating in the complicated spaces. Sophia was not easily read, which made her endlessly watchable. She could be an ally, she could be a complication, sometimes in the same episode. Today, Louise Lombard is 55 years old. The British actress has continued to appear in both American and international productions, maintaining a career defined by intelligence, range, and a screen presence that never required volume to make itself felt. For 15 years, CSI Crime Scene Investigation asked us to believe that the truth is always there, waiting. If you are patient enough, that's careful enough, and honest enough to find it. These 16 men and women brought that belief to life, week after week, in a laboratory bathed in blue light somewhere beneath the Las Vegas sky. Some of them are still out there doing extraordinary things. Some of them have faced battles the cameras never showed, and some are gone, remembered now in reruns and in the quiet moments when a particular piece of music or a certain quality of light brings it all back. My name is Edward. This is Screen Legends, and we will see you in the next one.